Hello and welcome to the PolyInnovator channel. This channel is about many different topics, but one thing that I really enjoy is this EDC one-bag travel world where I just wanted to talk about travel products and stuff that I have encountered or actually used quite a bit. And today I'm going to talk about the TomToc Navigator. I believe it's a 6, and it's a 40-liter backpack, but really it ends up being closer to like a 36-liter in usability, which a lot of the reviewers said. And when I watched those videos, I rolled my eyes, thought, okay, they're just being picky. In use, it really is less than what it actually argues, but there is a lot of benefits and cons to this backpack, and I'm going to try to go with you through each of those and just try to share my experience with this backpack. So what this is one of the nicer brands on the market for the price. This is not bad, right? This was about $90, I think, when I got it, and it goes down to like $75 sometimes on sale. It's one of the cheaper, higher end bags you can get. And I say higher end, it's more medium, like the quality of the Cordura nylon or whatever the hell this is. It's pretty good. It doesn't feel rough to the skin. I mean, just put this down and so I can pick up the backpack. There's a lot of benefits to it when it comes to how it's laid out. So everyone kind of called it the black hole because when you open it up, it is just a giant empty space, which is great on its own. But when you can't actually use certain spaces inside, then it becomes a problem. So as you can see, it's a giant empty hole. You can flip this up, allowing it to kind of keep it more firm or keep it down. I usually just kept it up. But the problem is there's only 2 other pockets. I mean, I'm not counting the laptop pocket because that's a separate thing, but there's only 2 other usable pockets, and that is this front pocket here, where when you actually use it, it's kind of nice. It's all the way out to the top, all the way down to the bottom, kind of spacious. The problem is that goes into the main space. So when you try to use it, it fights with the internal load. Same thing goes for this upper pocket, this little quick access pocket up here. Great, actually kind of a decent size compared to the front one, but again, it takes up space on the inside. Now, I am not a bag reviewer by any means, although I kind of wish I could become one, so I might try to do a better job with like a top-down camera at some point. But let me just talk about that for a second. The usage of the space was something I thought I could just ignore, and it ended up becoming a problem. So this backpack is one of the bigger backpacks I've ever had, and not only that, it is also one of the most comfortable backpacks I've ever had. I actually loaded this up in my last trip, and it was about 25 pounds. This is already a few pounds on its own. It's a pretty heavy backpack, but the straps, the cushions, everything on here is pretty nice. It's a little rough, but not crazy. And again, it's one of the most comfortable backpacks I've ever had, and it's actually kind of breathable. There's a little bit of damage here when I was forced, pretty sure by Spirit, it might have been Frontier, but one of those two forced me to check this bag at the gate. And I was like, oh, this is stupid. It's a backpack. I shouldn't have to check it. But luckily, the only thing that really ended up happening is there was a scratch on the front that I was able to wipe off, and then there was a scratch on that little like nylon padding, and that was about it. So it's pretty tough for that kind of situation, which it's a backpack. It shouldn't be checked in the first place, but I had to. So if you ever get forced to, at least you don't have to worry about it that much. But what I was saying is, in this last trip, it was about 25 pounds, and there was a couple of days where I was changing accommodations just due to the logistics of this conference, and there was other events going on, so I couldn't get the same place for all 4 nights. And because of that, I had to take this backpack with me to the conference and walk around with it. And carrying 25 pounds on your back for 20, 30,000 steps is a lot of work. But at the very least, it was relatively comfortable compared to other experiences I've had with different bags and different traveling accommodations. And on that same trip, I also had to wait in the airport overnight. It was a whole, like I talked about it in one of my videos recently. It was a whole hell of an experience logistics-wise. So I needed something that could make my life simpler by just having one bag. I did have another backpack that I put inside this one because this one's too big to be taken with you to the conference. I was forced to this year, but normally I would just leave it at the hotel room and then take a smaller bag with me. So what I ended up doing is take a very skinny backpack and shoving it in here, putting stuff inside it, and then like having some space. Then I would just take it out when I got to my location. But I would like to have something smaller, so I am going to be replacing this backpack. And that's why I wanted to make this video while I still had this one, because while it was great and definitely interesting as a starter for travel bags, I do have another travel bag that technically was my starter, and I'm keeping that one because it's more of a personal item that can expand. But this one being only check, and I don't even really think it really fits underneath most seats. I think it has once, but that was like a bigger airliner or like a bigger plane. So the other aspects behind the bag, though, the zippers are nice. They all have these little loops too, so it made it easy for me to put some hooks in to lock them. So I was never worried about locking the backpack because I always had something here, even with this little lock here. But then when you open it up, this whole feature here never used. I think I tried to during TSA once. They're like, you don't have to take out technology. So, and this is big. So if you have a 16-inch laptop, this is one of the backpacks you'd want to get. But the only other pocket is this. And you can put stuff in here. What's actually really nice, and this is a unique idea that I saw no one talk about, is that there's actually space inside this pocket. So when you have like this pocket closed and you don't even have a laptop in here, there's a couple inches of clearance that's not being used by the main compartment. So what I ended up doing is I had a suit that's very foldable. So I had the blazer, a button-up shirt, an undershirt, and maybe even the belt. Maybe not the belt though, I don't know. And then underwear, socks, pants, and yeah, that's all. And I had it all in one packing cube. It was a larger packing cube, but because it kept everything flat, because I used a larger one, I could spread everything out, and I was able to put my whole suit in this part right here instead of having to put it on the inside because there was enough clearance here. And then on this pocket, I never actually used it for cables or chargers or anything like that. What I did was I put laundry strips, those little paper laundry detergent pads, a one-use trash bag in case I ever needed to check this again to keep it protected or use it in the rain or something like that. And then maybe like a first aid kit. And that's also another reason why these pockets became less useful because there was no other pocket for me to put first aid kits besides that one, or even just random things like an eye mask or whatever, because I did want to use this sometimes under the seat if I could. I put my eye mask or my first aid kits, pins, and various little knickknacks, sometimes my headphones in this pocket. So this pocket will be full all the time. This front pocket I would try to use for snacks, but then you're going to get squished. It's also going to get lost. That's the problem about the pockets being this big, because then you can't find anything when you're trying to use it. And that's one reason why I was very frustrated by this bag. It's great if you need to save some money and get something cheaper. It is great if you want something that's rugged and you need something that can actually handle a big laptop and you don't want to spend an arm and a leg for an air backpack or something like that. But unless you have a specific use case for this bag, which I felt like I did, I felt like I needed something that had an empty cabin. I had a lot of packing cubes, and you can even see I use this toiletry kit actually as a computer case. It's very padded, and so I have like little nylon zip protectors. Why don't I just pull it out actually? What am I doing? So I have stuff like this charger or even computers that fit in these kind of things. And because of that, I wanted to put it in extra protection, so I put it inside this toiletry kit. I wanted something that can actually handle multiple different kits like this, whether it's compression cubes, a kit, or something like my tech pouch, which is also by TomToc, which I'm going to probably make a video about TomToc here soon. This is the tech pouch, I have the sling, and I have the backpack. And in all three cases, for some reason, they just don't know how to allocate space for pockets. They have a lot of great pockets like in the sling and then that tech pouch. But because of that, if you try to use all of them, it expands too much and then you can't use some of the other pockets because certain pockets overlap. And so even things like this leash and go too, I have all these bulky things that need to be in its own case. I can't just like separate them because of protection. So I needed something big enough to be able to organize all those already organized components versus having no compression cubes or no packing organization like that and putting it into the backpack directly. So I needed something that was a blank canvas like this is. But now I feel like I need something a little bit more of a mix. I need something that has some space for stuff like this, but I also want to have some organization in the backpack. So if anyone's curious, I'm going to be moving on to the rework Outbound 30-liter. I think that backpack with the admin pocket combined with the empty internal shell, that's not as deep as this one, but I think it's a little bit wider. And also too, I think that just by having that extra front usable space, I won't need to use the internal space as much. So that is kind of like my quick review of this backpack. I'm trying to think about other details. I've used it on 3 different trips now, and the experience has been good. Not great, but good. I was stuck in the airport for nearly like most of the day in the Dallas airport, and I had to lug this around with me the whole time. And that was not that bad of an experience. These handles are not the most comfortable, but they're not bad. This handle is really comfortable. There's no handle on this side, unfortunately. I never used a luggage strap because anytime I'm using this backpack, I'm not using a suitcase. But I also don't like the vertical straps like this. You have to rotate the whole bag on the side. I think that's silly. I know that this bag is the size of a suitcase, so it kind of makes sense that they have to do that. But I wish there was an option. So again, I will say these compression straps actually were usable. Like these actually came in handy. I will say like those are useful. But on this side, having the compression strap come over the zipper is super annoying. I think they might have fixed some of that in some of the revisions, and maybe my issues stem from the fact that like this bag is like the first generation, and so it's not even like the newer version of what you could get. But I think that even in the newer versions, the pockets are not still like that usable. I think even the newer one, the pockets like horizontal. So when you try to go in, it's kind of like stiff. Whereas this one at least have a little bit of space to use. The other issue is like the materials. It's very floppy. And I hear the rework is actually like that as well. The outbound that I'm going to get. But you can almost see how it's crinkling here, because anytime you try to use this compression strap, it just pushes that material back. And I don't really like this change in material here. I thought it looked aesthetic, but when the bag folds over, it looks really trashy. And the bag just naturally folds over. Even right now, it's crinkly because there's something in it. But even when there's stuff in it, it's too, like, the allocation of space. That's what I've been trying to say this whole time. So there's on the top and the bottom, there's like the different corners where things are not being used to the fullest. So because of that top pocket, it's kind of round at the top. So there's space on either side of that round pocket. And then things try to like collapse in because it's trying to compress, and so it's squeezing out all that little space. Same thing goes at the bottom. Even though the bottom has that flat piece, which that flat piece is really great. I wish more backpacks had it. That flat piece, it still has like in front of that flat piece, there's that little divot in like nothing pushing it back. And so the bag will kind of collapse in the corners and it doesn't really look that good. And even functionally, I don't even think it's that great. So while I have been pretty negative about this backpack, I think a lot of people would enjoy using it. And I think that for a lot of people wanting to get into the one bag travel, this is a good entry point because of the cost. Now, I'm not going to pull out my other bag. I'll make a separate video for that. But essentially, I got that for $30 at Marshall's too. And so it's crazy how good that bag is for the cost. It's not that great either. I don't use it for a lot of trips for a reason. The space allocation is weird. The front admin pocket is this thick. Makes no sense. But you can put basically any kind of packing cube or my toiletry kits or the Legion Go in that front pocket. And then when you don't want to use the middle expandable pockets, you could squeeze something in there, keep it compressed, and just use that front pocket for the trip over and then expand it on the way back. That's one reason why I like that bag, because you can change it. And I'm not saying that adjustable bags, like expandable bags, are the way to go, but for some people that would be a really important detail you might want to think about. I wish at some points this would collapse down a little bit, just because like this is super thick. Look at that. And because of that, I can't use it as a daily bag. You really can't. And there are some issues with that where obviously it's not meant for a daily bag. It's not meant for EDC. Some big backpacks like this, probably this Rework Outbound that I'm going to get, can be kind of, you know, in a pinch, used as an EDC bag because of the admin pocket organization, because of the thickness of it. It's not as thick as this one, I don't think. And I think that's going to help because I need more space horizontally and vertically, not depth, not the Z-axis. And so that's all I'm going to talk about today. If you have any comments about the, the Outbound that I'm going to get, or the TomToc backpack here, and you just want me to answer some questions too, I'm happy to. I'm actually making this video because I watched every single TomToc Navigator video, every single one. Like, that's not hyperbole. I watched every single one before I got this backpack. I did the same thing for the Rework Outbound too before I just ordered it today or last night. And so I watched every bag video about this. I still bought it after watching all of them. I thought it was a great idea. I'm hoping that this video might help you in your decision as well. I'm going to put the backpack down below. It will be an affiliate link if you want to get it, but no pressure. If you just want to look it up yourself, no big deal. I just wanted to put it there in case you wanted to find the backpack easily. And so, yeah, that's it. Thank you. Bye.